Good afternoon and welcome. This is Spectrum Television News at 12. I am Uyai MM, come to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Let's take a look at the headlines. Federal government urges review of civil service disciplinary system. Nigeria Labour Congress falls federal government no work no pay policy backs union. In other news, Trump to oversee Cambodia-Thai peace deal at Asian Summit. We'll bring you the details of these stories and more in a moment. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. We head to the national scene where the chairman of the Federal Civil Service, Professor Tunji Alaupa, has called for a holistic review of the disciplinary control system in the civil service. He said such reform is necessary to drive culture change, value reorientation, and address the persistent delays in handling disciplinary matters within the system. A statement released today by the Commission's head of press and public relations, Taiwo Hassan, said Olaupa spoke at a one-day joint retreat between the Commission and the office of the head of the Civil Service of the Federation. The FSC boss also emphasized the importance of rethinking the link between merit, competency-based human resource practices, performance management and the wage structure, noting that such integration was crucial to restoring the federal government's image as an employer of choice. Away from that, the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has faulted the federal government's implementation of a no work, no pay policy over the striking members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities (ASU). Recall that ASU had on Sunday declared a 2-week warning strike starting from October 13. The lecturers have been at loggerheads with the government over the work conditions of lecturers, the 2009 federal government ASU agreement, the release of withheld salaries and sustainable funding for the revitalization of public universities. In a statement, NLC President Joe Ajero said that the ASU warning strike is a direct consequence of the government's refusal to honor collectively bargained agreements. He said the government's continued refusal to implement agreements voluntarily reached with lecturers and workers was undermining public tertiary institutions. Ajero therefore called on the federal government to immediately set aside its threat and use the 2-week window to address the core issues in the negotiated agreements with ASU. In a related development, the Nigerian Education Loan Fund (NEL Fund) has assured stakeholders that the ongoing strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities (ASU) will not affect its operations. Speaking in a live broadcast, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of NEL Fund, Akintunde Sawyer, expressed optimism that the ongoing negotiations between the federal government and ASU under the leadership of the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alaupa, would produce fair and positive outcomes. Recall that the fund had approved the final reopening of its loan application platform to enable tertiary institutions yet to complete their student verification exercise to do so. Sawyer added that NEL Fund remained confident that the ministry's plans will seek to be fair and equitable and will derive the right results, assuring that the developments will not impact the fund's operations. He emphasized that the agency does not want students to be negatively affected by the strike, stressing the importance of monitoring developments closely before making any pronouncements. And now to the world of politics. The People's Democratic Party (PDP) has postponed its 103rd National Executive Committee meeting scheduled for Wednesday, October 15, indefinitely. A statement by the National Publicity Secretary Debo Olongaba, the party said the postponement was necessitated by recent developments in the party. The statement did not elaborate on the developments within the party that led to the postponement. Meanwhile, Enugu State Governor Peter Mbah has officially defected to the All Progressives Congress (APC) from the PDP. The governor defended his decision to switch camps, saying the move was necessary to connect the southeastern state to the central government. In Akwa Ibom State, in a drive to improve the standard and quality of teachers' education in line with the human capital development of the Arise agenda, Akwa Ibom State government has approved the upgrading of the College of Education Afaranset to Akwa Ibom State University of Education and approved same for regularization. The State Commissioner for Information and Economana announced this when he briefed Government House correspondents at the end of the state's Executive Council meeting held at the Executive Council Chamber, Governor's Office, Uyo. According to him, in a bid to realign and update ministerial responsibilities as well as resolve areas of overlap, the governor also approved the composition of a special committee to implement the exercise. The committee has the secretary to the state government as the chairman, with the head of the civil service, executive assistant, attorney general, solicitor general, and managing director of ACICOB as members. Noting that the committee has 6 weeks to submit its report, he noted that following the review of the reports of the Interministerial Committee on the implementation of the state of emergency in the health sector, the council considered and approved projects and programs timelines, especially the recruitment of doctors and medical professionals, increase in special peculiar allowances for medical personnel, skipping policy for the health sector, evaluation and completion of BOQs for Phase 1 of the rehabilitation of selected hospitals and primary health care facilities within 2 weeks to enable health infrastructure interventions to commence by November 1st and the commissioning of General Hospital Kanafon on the 10th of November 2025. Government House correspondent Jane Wa reports that Governor Eno, however, charged the members of the council to remain steadfast and loyal to the ideals of the administration. The governor urged them to remain committed to service delivery and collaboration for the full realization of the Arise agenda and for the overall development of the state within set timelines.
In his opening remarks, His Excellency the Governor in Council, Pastor Moeno PhD, welcomed members and charged all to remain steadfast and loyal to the ideals of the administration. The Governor urged members of the Executive Council to remain committed to service delivery in collaboration and work in collaboration for the full realization of the Arise agenda for the overall development of the state within set timelines. Some of the resolutions reached at today's meeting are as follows. 1. In a bid to realign and update ministerial responsibilities as well as resolve areas of overlap, the Governor in Council approved the composition of a special committee to implement the realignment and update exercise. In its drive to improve the standard and quality of teachers' education in line with the human capital development aspect of the Arise agenda, the Executive Council received and adopted the memo presented by the Ministry of Health for the upgrading of the College of Education, Afaransi, to Akwa Ibom State University of Education, and approved same for regularization without recourse to ESCO. The Executive Council considered several reports and memos and ratified several finance and general purposes committee memo on various ongoing projects in the state to ensure their speedy completion.
In the meantime, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Moeno has paid a condolence visit to the family of the late Reverend Dr. Umar Okpai, renowned evangelist and founder of the Umar Okpai Evangelistic Association. Speaking during the visit at the family residence in Uyo, Governor Eno described the late cleric as an icon and a rare gem whose passing is a great loss not only to Akwa Ibom State but to Nigeria and the global Christian community. The governor said the visit was to reassure the bereaved family that the government and people of Akwa Ibom State stand with them at this difficult time and will collaborate with the family to ensure a befitting rite of passage for the revered man of God. Addressing Pastor Philomena Omakpai, the governor prayed that God would comfort her, the children, and all spiritual sons and daughters of the deceased. Responding on behalf of the family, Pastor Philomena expressed gratitude to the governor and members of the State Executive Council for the visit and words of encouragement. The governor concluded the visit with prayers, thanking God for the impactful life and ministry of the late Reverend Dr. Umar Bai, and asked for divine comfort and strength for the family. We move now to Africa, where Cameroon's opposition challenger Issa Chichroma Bakari has claimed election victory against incumbent President Paul Biya, who has been in power for 43 years. With official results from Sunday's vote expected in 2 weeks, Chiroma declared in a post on social media calling on the government to accept the truth of the ballot box or plunge the country into turmoil, and promising to publish detailed results by region. On the foreign scene, United States President Donald Trump will oversee a formal peace deal between Cambodia and Thailand on the sidelines of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations Summit. According to Malaysian Foreign Minister Mohamed Hassan, Trump will visit the Malaysian capital of Kuala Lumpur on October 26 to witness the agreement. The 47th ASEAN Summit is due to take place in Kuala Lumpur from October 26 to 28, bringing together heads of state from 10 Southeast Asian nations and other dialogue partners. Still on the foreign scene, Venezuela has announced that it would close its embassy in Oslo days after opposition leader Maria Corina was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. In a statement, the Venezuelan government did not comment on Mercado's prize, saying that the closure was part of a restructuring of its foreign service. Meanwhile, Norway's foreign ministry confirmed that Caracas had closed its embassy in Oslo without providing a reason. The Nobel Committee in Oslo awarded her the prize on Friday in recognition of what it called her tireless work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela. Still to come in the news. Super Eagles captain Trust Ekong makes strong demands from Nigerians. Stay tuned for details of this and more in a moment. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. And to conclude the news this hour, on that business news, as a way of giving back to oil-producing communities, the federal government said it has embarked on a total of 536 community projects across the Niger Delta. In a statement, the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission (NUPRC) noted that the projects are being held simultaneously in the region. According to the Commission, the Host Community Development Trust HCDT has risen to 373 billion naira as of October 13, 2025, in accordance with Section 235 of the Petroleum Industry Act of 2021, which mandates oil companies to incorporate HCDT for the benefit of host communities where they operate. A statement signed by the Commission's head of Media and Strategic Communications, Eniola Akinkoto, also said the fund comprises 125 billion naira and $168.9 million contributed by oil companies operating under the Petroleum Industry Act 2021. The HCDT requires oil companies to deposit 3% of their operating expenditure of the preceding financial year into a trust fund, which will be housed in a bank with a Better Business Bureau (BBB) rating. Still in business, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) has called on governments worldwide to build stronger institutions and ensure the independence of the central banks. At the IMF annual meetings in Washington, D.C., IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva spoke at the Civil Society Town Hall program, part of the pre-opening events at the ongoing World Bank IMF annual meetings. The IMF chief also played down the impact of U.S. tariffs on many world economies, saying the effect of the tariffs has decreased compared with the position at the April 2025 meetings. She added that the private sector is currently much stronger than it was in April, signaling improvement in global economic performance. In health, pharmacists have blamed poor coordination between key government agencies tasked with securing the nation's pharmaceutical supply chain as a major reason behind the persistent circulation of fake and substandard medicine in the country. The stakeholders called on the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, Customs, Foreign Affairs, and law enforcement agencies to collaborate more tightly to tackle the high rate of fake drugs. The experts urged the government to step up regulation, integrate broader pharmacist responsibilities, and clamp down fiercely on counterfeit medications. The drug specialists called for urgent reforms, including the implementation of track and trace technologies, stronger penalties for offenders, and robust collaboration across agencies. And now to the world of sports. Super Eagles captain William Troost Ekong has urged Nigerians to appreciate and support Eric Shill's men as they prepare to face the Benin Republic in today's 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier in Uyo. According to Troost Ekong, everyone needs to share responsibility because Nigeria's clash with the Benin Republic is not a game that the coach or Super Eagles players can win for Nigeria alone. The former Watford defender also urged his teammates to step up against Benin Republic. Still in sports, Chelsea have announced the signing of Nigerian central defender Justin Osagie. The defender joined the Blues on undisclosed fees after a successful trial at Stamford Bridge. Osagie, 20, moved to Chelsea following the expiration of his contract with Peterborough United. During his trial at Stamford Bridge, the central defender was said to have impressed Chelsea's academy coaches and earned himself a permanent deal. On entertainment news, President Tinubu's aide Ortega Oga has threatened legal action against popular Nigerian musician Timi Dakolo for calling him out on social media. Reports say Singer Timi Dakolo had in a post on X called out Ortega Ogara and accused him of not picking his calls. Reacting to Dakolo, Ortega in a post on X vowed to correct the singer through legal action if he made further posts about him. While describing his issue with Dakolo as an institutional matter, Ortega accused the singer of personalizing the issue. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. This has been Spectrum Television News at 12. I am Uyai MM. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good afternoon.
Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.